This afternoon, Yerushalmi Terumos, the article Oz Bahara edition of Daf Ayin Dalad Amud Aleph right at the top, and that is the Mishnah Halacha Gimel Yayin, which is Mishnah Dalad, Mishnah Hey, Mishnah Vav, Mishnah Zayin. All of them both the Mishnah Zayin. Okay, and that is in the Vilna and Daf Men Beis Amud Aleph Halacha Gimel, and the Mishnah says Yayin Truma Sheniz Gala. You have one Truma wine which became uncovered. Yeah, of course, anything which is Megula in the old days, where at least they were choishish that it could have been some poisonous snake or such like could have left its venom in the liquid, and therefore it was a sakana. So therefore, you just should toss it out. Many years ago, one of my Talmidim asked me, snakes don't drink liquids. So that may be true, but it could be that back then they did and now they don't. But the Lamaisa slugs do, and there are poisonous slugs. So therefore, it's it's not venom, but some chemical which they remove from their body. So it could be that the snake mentioned here is not necessarily a snake, but a slug that would cover the issue. Although in the end of the Kavanaki, he has a contrast. Takonis Vizer Shabbatel Tamon. So evidently this is one of the issues which he discusses they discuss, I should say, in the Kuntresim at the back. Several Kuntresim. One of the first ones back. The things that you see in halacha, in other words, things determined on what you based on what you see, you can't see. And the second contrast is the concept of Shabbatel Taimon, which includes presumably, what do you say here? Mayim Megulin. Don't see. I discuss it specifically in Mayim Megulin. There's a lot of material here. Mashke Megulin. The Shloah Kodesh says, "Become shomer nafshel yirchak mehem, kodesh yemalosh. My glory shomer atzavosa chodim v'im mishnah Talmud passhun kosar ben agrazal. Haya nizam obu chutz la'aretz chodim negilu mitam mo v'nim ukosh tzorch lizar b'chol yirazal av shebata tam shegilu kilu rak tam echa belimar beitam minel lomim kem nahag aval halacha yiskim v'sar k'shurach shemati b'zman hazeh." So even though personally was noig b'chol machmir by Megulin, he was agreed to Shulchan that's mutar b'zman hazeh. However, concerns kiddush the mechaber paskin and mekachi yam megula afilu inad lo kapdin hagilui. Okay, he doesn't really give any powerful insights here. So let's go on. One second. He does be down here. No, that's about milestones. Okay, let's go on. So Yain Truma is Gali Shafek, Vein Tzachlo Mishakolin, because Sakara, you swim toss it, even Truma, and of course, not which you have a mitzvah to preserve. But so you toss Truma, you toss Kolin. Shloshim Aske Shum Gilu, you have three beverages, also because a kind of Gilu, Hamayim, Yain Cholav, water, wine, and milk. Sharkal Mashku Time, all other beverages, Unam issue of Megulin. Kami should be assuring how long should they remain open to become usher. They should say rachash malchim korov, so that this rachash, which is works out well with the slug, some creepy crawly thing which slithers, comes from a close place and will drink from the beverage. Um, the next Mishnah, this Halacha says, Shira Mayim Magulim, the Shira Mayim Magulim, that they should not be going to the account of Gilui, Kadesh Tove Bem Amara, so that the bile, meaning the venom should dissipate. There's a Mekalim Kosher Hain. Here it says in Kalim, no matter how small the amount of venom and how great the amount of other permitted beverage, it's also no matter what. And the way the Rash explains, according to the Tzitz Yontif, is because they made Xera Kalim Gdolim Atu Ktanim. But in the ground, Garkos Arbaim saw. Up to 40 saw is also, but not more than 40 saw. Not 40 saw or more. The next Mishnah in this halacha, Nikuri Tainim, you have figs, which it's clear that something bit at them. Novim and grapes, Vikishuin and squash, Hadichim and watermelons, Vidiluim and gourds, Mlafonos and cucumbers. I feel hen kikar, even if they are quite large. Echel Godel, Echel Katan, large or small, Echel Tolish, Echel Mechubar, severed the ground or connected to the ground. Koshi Bo Lecha, anytime it has moisture, it's usher. And because the poison will get mixed up with the moisture and it will permeate the entire fruit or vegetable. But if it's dry, it seems to be okay because you just cut off the place where the bite hole is and eat the rest. But an animal which has been bitten by a snake, you cannot check and eat because it is potentially dangerous across the fashos. If you have a strainer of wine, it's also Mishum Gilui, Rabbi Chaim Mata, and Rabbi Kabir permits it. So we will come back that way to get to the Gemara. Okay, now to continue on to the Gemara. Rabbi Yaakov Racha, Rabbi Shimon Bar B'Shem Chanina said, "Hatav shil shebishlu b'mayim megulim." If you cook the dish with water which had been left uncovered, I feel shel truma, even that the dish consisted of truma, you have to toss it. And so Shechol goes out saying that applies to chulin. Amar Rabbi Yosef said, "Masisa Amar Kei." Our Mishnah tells us this. Yain shel truma shizgala. We have wine of truma which became revealed. Yishafech, uncovered, I should say, should be spilled out. And so Shechol goes out saying that for chulin the same applies. Chavrai Shem Yochel said, "Yain shizgala otelu ashosa." Wine which became uncovered, it's also to leave it around. So, if you left around, and it became fermented on its own, so it's still also. Even though vinegar and even wine vinegar doesn't have the initial megulin, but since it became megulin when it was wine, even if afterwards becomes vinegar, it retains the problem of megulin. If you have the figs and the grapes which got pierced, the bitten, we're not allowed to leave them around. But in this case, if you left them around and they shriveled on their own, they are mutaras, they are permitted. It means they got dry and they didn't rot or become rancid. Because if there had been venom there, they would have not just gotten dry, they would have gotten rancid or rotten. Bride to Rabbi Chia Rabbah, the daughter of Rabbi Chia the Great, Rabbi Chia, Havas Menakra B'Teinaya, she was piercing figs deliberately. Begin Loichul Chavraya, so that the Chaverim should not eat them. In other words, she was upset. She didn't want the Talmidim to eat the friends or the students to eat them. I guess we want to keep for the family. Rabbi Chia Minhum, and Rabbi Chia, her father, would eat from them even though they're pierced. So what it says, lace aser. So isn't aser? Initially, I assumes obviously that Rabbi Chia did not know that his daughter had pierced them herself. It says no, L'daite havas avda. She did it. She did it on his and on his cognizance, so he knew that they weren't pierced by a snake. I'm not sure. Maybe it's like different gears to change the Chavanaki and the Regamara. No, not really. Says one of our field cane austerities and not also anyway. Look at that, and we learn Rod Sipor Noka if you saw a bird piercing a fig, and a mouse biting through a squash. It's also on why? Because maybe even though they don't leave venom, they ate from the part of the fruit where previously a venomous animal had taken a bite. It's more natural Havas. That was not the case here because his daughter watched him, and therefore, since she watched him, therefore she knew that before she pierced them, they were whole, and never was an issue. Okay, see Chamir Sur, of course, that if somebody kills somebody by stabbing them to death, we're not Chayshe Shema Makom Nekev Nakav. Don't assume that potentially that he was a treifa in that area where the stab wound occurred, and therefore we killed the murderer. But by Sakana, we would be afraid, if not for the fact that Bechia's daughter had watched him, that Dilma B'Makom Nekev Nakav, maybe she had pierced in a place where a snake had already pierced the fruit. And it's a said, Hachad, you have wine which is particularly sharp, a mar, or particularly bitter, Vamasoka, particularly sweet, Ebo Mishim Gugili. Snakes are picky, they don't like that kind of wine. The Levi said, now you not have a problem of gilui. They're not used by non-Jews for yain nesech purposes. So the super sweet sacramental grape wine, which Malaga or those are not used for avodah zarah. Rabbi Shimon Farish Hachad. Rabbi Shimon translated Chad is condito. The sharp wine is yain condito, which has honey and other herbs. The hamar is pastinun, and pastinun evidently is wine which has been mixed together with absinthe, which is called the lana in Hebrew. And I don't know anybody who does it nowadays, but absinthe is obviously, I guess, bitter. Hamatok is chamra mavashla. Sweet is defined as cooked wine, yain mabushal. So it could be that non-mabushal malaga or a sacramental grape wine would be also, because most of it is specifically defined as cooked. Meshubah zaydo, sounds like Yiddish name. Meshubah zaydo. Havali chamra mavashla had cooked wine. Which had been kept specifically in the under the jurisdiction of a non-Jew. Shor Rabbi Ani, Rabbi Shor says Rabbi Ani Shmuel, what's the status is? I'm like, can't Rabbi Shlokish, Masar Emu Mishum Gilu V'lo Mishum Yain Nesa. Of course, it's circumstance that, which is that if you have Yain Bebushal, there's no issue of Megula or Yain Nesach, therefore you can drink it. Yain Rabbi Shmuel Ivish. Yain Rabbi Shmuel got sick. Rabbi Zia, Rabbi Yosha, Rabbi Bun Barkana, Rabbi Hanania, Chavren, Rabbana Barka, they saw these rabbis came to visit him. Rabbi Zira, Rabbi Yosha, Rabbi Bun Barkana, Rabbi Hanania, the friend of the rabbis. Remember, it's called the friend of the rabbis because they didn't have real smicha. They came to visit him. Chamun, Rabbi Shuba Zaydel, Yosef. So they saw Rabbi Shuba Zaydel sitting. Mari Shmutza, Va'uvda. Here is the person who has the halacha. He asked Rabbi Yana by Shmuel, and he had the story because he had such a case. And he asked Rabbi Yana by Shmuel. I'm sorry, no, it's right. The Rabbi Shimon Zayil had the story, and the Rabbi Yana by Shmuel was when he asked. So they were both there. Rabbi Shmuel was the one who got sick, and they found Rabbi Yeshua. I don't know, maybe I skipped those words before. No, I didn't. Rabbi Yeshua was there. The same Rabbi Yeshua was sitting there. So the two people involved in the story, the questioner and the responder, were there. They said, okay, Harmai Shmuel Shmai. So that's Rabbi Yonah Shmuel. Hamar Yovda, that's Rabbi Yoshua Bar Zaydo. Asin Sholei, they came and asked, Amar Rabbi Shua ben Rabbi Yonah Rabbi Shmuel. Can Amar Rabbi Shua ben Lakish? Yes, indeed. Rabbi Shua said, Mosag Ein Bo Mishlo Mishum Gilui, Lo Mishum Yayin Nesach. There was no issue. Amar Rabbi Zira, Dilma Mid'ilin Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish, the Achain v'Achain. Maybe it's one of these cases where Shimon Lakish will say, Achain, Achain, Efshar Azoi, Efshar Azoi. And maybe it's this way, maybe that way. He didn't determine specifically La Alocha Lamaisa, right? Amarle, as they said, so we should have said La Uvda. It's Lamaisa. Some I rely on me, and because I know that he said it Halacha Lamaisa. Kanachtum, when they left, Kam Rabbi Ila Rabbi Bun Bar Kahana, so Rabbi Ila accosted Rabbi Bun Bar Kahana. Rabbi Ila was not present at this visit. He just accosted him. Amlan, later Tim Merachman Shmuasa. He said, if not for the fact that you love statements of Amoroim, like Achroinim, right? Lamas Nisa, he couldn't learn for a brisa. Tana Bechir said, Yaim Ushul Goim Lama Aser. They said, why it's cooked wine of Goim Aser? Mipnei Shoya Mitchilaso Yain, because it was originally wine before and the Goy had contact when it was originally wine. Chomach Goim Lama Aser. Why is the vinegar of Goim Aser? Because it was wine initially, and they had a possession when it was wine. So we see here that it was Chilas and Mavushal when it came down to Goy, it's mutter. My best says the Messi, so I'm again found by found Mishnah from Zara Parak Base Mishnah Gimel. Also, it has an inference. It says that what's also because on account of Zara, Hayayin v'Chomesh Shem Mitchilas Yayin that they had when the beginning was still wine. Rabbi Ami Havale Orchan Yani had guess. I guess. I said, if not for the fact that my cooked wine became uncovered, Havina Mashkil Chumin. I would have given you to drink for it. Rabbi said, I said, bring it out, drink it, because it was Yam Bushel. Rabbi Ami, said, if anybody wants to die, should go home to die. In other words, he was not willing to take the chance, even though Mavushal theoretically does not have a problem of Megula. He didn't want to make a mistake. He didn't want to. He was machmer. As interesting, Alei Tamar says it was machmer lo sasim damim bebesecha. Even with, I guess, even that it's not just specifically out of makkah, any type of hazard a person should avoid having take place in his house. And that brings us to the well into in Nehemiah Aleph. So we'll stop here.